Recovery Queen Melissa presents Tales from the Trap, where the truth lies.
Okay, so these are some really good loved one of addict questions. So I'm just going to get into them. When my daughter finally got clean, I didn't feel proud. I felt numb. Why do I feel more exhausted now than I did during the chaos? Good question. When people get sober, a lot of the times the person that's in recovery almost expects people to have forgiveness when we aren't owed forgiveness. We're not owed anything. We are the ones that do the owing. We are the ones that need to be making the amends. We are the ones who are at fault. Okay? So my mom has a really fucking hard time with this. My mom is the same way. It's okay to feel that way. Your feelings are valid regardless. But sometimes I don't know why somebody would feel more exhausted, but their bodies are in fight or flight, right? So when you spend a decade or more navigating someone else's addiction, a lot of the times you get stuck in that crisis mode, even when you don't have to be anymore. And my answer to all of these questions is going to be the same. If you are feeling this way, this is a telltale sign that you need therapy. You need counseling. You need support. You need somebody else who has an unbiased view of your specific situation, who doesn't know you, who isn't a friend, a fucking professional that you can talk to. Because it's not the addict's job to make you feel comfortable. The only thing the addict has to do is not pick up. And if they've spent years and years not picking up, and you're still like that, you need to get therapy. I think everybody should be in therapy, regardless if you're going through any addiction shit. I literally think every single person in this world owes themselves the due diligence of getting therapy. Like, it is your responsibility to fix your brokenness. It is nobody else's responsibility, even if they're the ones who broke you. I am not responsible for my mother. I am not responsible for the way she acts. I am not responsible for her trauma responses, but she has them anyways. But it's not my responsibility to fix them, even though I'm the reason she is the way she is. It's like a child who has a horrible upbringing and is still mad and angry and resentful and sabotaging their own lives because of their childhood. If you're 40 years old, still using your childhood as an excuse to why you are the way you are, you need fucking help. It's nobody else's responsibility. You can't control other people, but you can control the way you react to them. So if you feel like you're not comfortable living without crisis and chaos, and you're feeling exhausted, even if there is no crisis, then you need to go get better. And there is no shame in that. There's no shame in admitting you're stuck. My mom is stuck. My mom's doing her own therapy. She's traveling the world, and power to her. But I wish she would actually get therapy. But it's not my responsibility. And I'm 4 years sober, and it's still the same. My mom feels the exact same way. And instead of getting therapy, she's just left, which is whatever. But you're not gonna heal. You're not gonna move forward. You're gonna be stuck. Like, my mom is very much a worrier, and even if she has nothing to worry about, she will create things to worry about. And if I'm not as concerned as her about whatever the fuck, she gets mad at me. because I've made her this way. I made her this worrier. So she's angry that I'm not just as worried because she can't stop worrying. And it's my fault she is that way. So she gets pissed, I guess, that I'm not on board with the worrying. I can't worry no more, bitch. You need to get yourself some motherfucking therapy. You do. Like, I'm sorry, but if you can't be grateful for someone else's recovery that you spent years begging for, if you can't be okay and content and move on and live your life without being stuck, you need help. You need help. And it's nobody else's job to get you that help. Not even the addict that caused the behavior, right? Just like it's not my friend's abusive dad's fault that she's still fucked up about her childhood. No, it's not his fault because she's an adult and she needs to get her own fucking help, right? Right. I stayed in her life through everything. Now that she's better, she barely calls. Is that normal? Why do I feel abandoned by her recovery? I think my family feels that way too sometimes. I think they are mad that I don't need them as much as not mad at me, but just like, what the fuck? Why aren't you calling and asking to borrow money all the time? Is there something wrong? Are you mad? Why aren't you coming around anymore? Is there something going on with you? Everybody needs to stop making it the person in recovery's problem that you can't function in their recovery. It's not the person that's working every day to be better and to evolve as a human. It's not their responsibility that you aren't comfortable. If they were constantly the crisis friend, and now that they're in recovery, they're not the crisis friend, and they're taking care of their own shit without having to burden you with their problems. Like, we're adults. This is something I have a hard time with people. We're adults. Sometimes I don't talk to my friends for months at a time. Okay? My oldest, bestest friend, I don't even remember the last time I even talked to her. I honestly don't. She tagged me in something on Facebook today, but I don't remember the last time I talked to her. It's not that I'm mad at her. It's not that she's mad at me. It means that our friendship does not need work. I cannot talk to Rolly for 6 months and pick up where the fuck we left off the next time I talk to her. And that's the mark of a true friendship. So if you have a problem with your friend not being the crisis friend anymore, then you need to figure that out on your own. It is not the other person's fault. So if you feel abandoned, you need to reach inside yourself and figure out why. Are you resentful of their recovery? Do you miss them? Use your words. Use your words. Talk to them. I have a problem with adults who don't use their words. They can feel all of these emotions and they can articulate why they feel this way and that they do feel this way, but they can't express it to the person. You know what I mean? Like, my aunt and my grandma, I stopped going around for a minute. It was my own shit. They thought it was something to do with them. They made a big fucking deal about it and told my mom. It caused a big fucking riff. Instead of using their fucking words and reaching out to the person that they're concerned about or whatever the case may be. If you're concerned that your friend who used you as their like rock, you bailed them out throughout their whole active addiction, and all of a sudden they're in recovery and they're taking care of their life and they're not calling you anymore, and you're angry about that, you feel abandoned. Isn't this what you wanted for them? Isn't this what you wished for years? That you didn't continuously have to bail this person out and now you feel abandoned? That sounds like a you problem to me, Pookie. It really does. I have a hard time with people, and your feelings are valid. I'm not saying they're not valid. I'm just saying it's nobody else's fault. You need to figure out why you feel that way. And if you are no longer the person that they turn to in a crisis because they've got their shit together now, You need to fill that void with something else, something positive. Because I know for all the years that they were in active addiction, you wished that you could fill the time that you spent bailing them out and fixing all of their problems. You wish that you could have spent that on you, that time on you, that time on your kids, that time on a hobby, that time on a job, that time doing something that you loved. And now that you have the chance, you just want to bitch about it. You need therapy. All these people in these questions need fucking therapy. Damn. Okay. My partner got clean, but he's still emotionally distant. They're sober, but not really back. Do you ever come all the way back? There's a difference between being sober and being in recovery. I know a lot of sober people. I don't know a lot of people in recovery. Being in recovery is not just about substance abuse. It's about everything having to do with your whole fucking existence. Because when you've spent years out there seeing what the real world is about, sometimes it's hard to come back from that. It really is hard to come back from that. And if you don't do the work, you may just stop at sober. I couldn't stop at sober. I really couldn't. If I wanted to be somebody that I could be proud of, if I could be somebody who good people would want in their lives, if I wanted to be somebody that my children would be proud of and look up to and have a good, if I wanted to be a role model to my babies, sober Melissa of 2022 was not that girl. She was sober. She was in the midst of healing. She was in recovery, but I am in recovery, Mel of 2025. There's a huge difference between somebody in recovery and somebody that's just sober. I call that a dry drunk or a dry addict because the active addiction behaviors are still there. The active addiction personality traits are still super prevalent. They're extremely distant because they're spending all their fucking days fantasizing about going back out. They're dry. They're not in recovery. People in recovery, first of all, should not be in relationships. That's just my opinion. If you're in a relationship in recovery and your partner still isn't happy, that you're distant, you're not back, that doesn't sound like the person even wants to be in that relationship. I honestly truly believe that people in recovery need to be not, you don't have to be single if you're married, because I get these, well, what if you're married? You need to separate. And I know that is what addictions workers and specialists tell people. And nobody likes this answer when I tell them, but you need to separate. You need to separate and figure out who the fuck you are. And he needs to figure out who the fuck he is. Because if he's still distant in recovery, it's not you need to separate. You need to separate. It is not up to you to dictate when he's fully back either. You may never get him fully back. You might not even know. The person that you think exists might not even exist. You know, when people get sober, they completely change as human beings. So the person you met may not even exist anymore. Once again, it's a you problem. It's a you problem. I know how hard these answers are to hear, but it's not the responsibility of the addict to make sure you're okay. All they needed to do was get sober and heal. If you want to stick around, you need to do the same, because you've had just as much trauma and just as much heartache and just as much, you are in recovery too, right? So you need to get yourself better, and that means getting fucking therapy. Fuck. Go on to the next motherfucking question. My son is in recovery and he wants to tell his story publicly. I'm proud, but I'm also ashamed of what it brings up for me. Why am I allowed to ask him? Jesus, Melissa. Am I allowed to ask him not to share it all? Fuck no. Absolutely fucking not. You are not allowed to. No. No, the fuck you ain't. Fuck no. Ugh. That pisses me off. Fuck no. If your son is so proud of his recovery and you say you are too, he should be out there screaming it from the rooftops if he wants to. Do you think my mom wants me to be out here talking about how I got charged with human trafficking? Do you think my mom and dad want me out here talking about how I used to shake my ass and sell my coochie on the stroll? Do you think it would be okay for them to tell me not to talk about it? Fuck no, it wouldn't be okay. Fuck no. And if your addict son is at a point in his recovery where he feels the need to tell his story and you are like, oh, don't tell this part, fuck you. Get therapy. Fuck you. No, you're not allowed to ask him not to share parts of his story. No, you are not. And I find it really fucked up that anybody would even think that. Because, like, that would be like my mom or my baby dad being like, don't talk about me. Fuck you, bitch. You're a part of my story. You're a part of my story. So unless we're going to get lawyers involved and you're going to send me a cease and fucking desist, I'm going to talk about my story. And sorry, Pookie, but you're a part of it. I block your face and I don't say your name all the time. I might say it sometimes, but lawyer up, bitch. Just saying. But no, absolutely not. Nobody is allowed. That's like victim blaming to me. That'd be like, ooh, I know you were SA'd, but it's a really traumatic story, and I really would appreciate it if you didn't tell anybody about that. That's fucked up. Absolutely not. That is the number one thing I tell addicts. If you have the opportunity to vlog or talk about your story, if you have a story that needs to be told and you're in recovery now and you think that it will help you evolve as a human being and heal and meet other people that are going through what you went through and help others with your story, if you want to, that you should be doing that. It saved my life. Making content and telling my story saved my life. Because for years I was like, I'm the only one that went through this. Pookie, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. I met thousands of people all over the world that have been through what I've been through. And I wouldn't have known that unless I would have put my story out there. So nobody is allowed to say, hey, you know that part of your story? Just don't tell that part. Fuck you, bud. Fuck you. Ugh. I lost friends and family trying to protect my I lost friends and family trying to protect my addicted sister. Now that she's sober, everyone loves her again, but I'm still isolated. Where's my healing? It is not up to anybody else to heal you. It is not up to anyone else to heal you. It is not up to anybody else to make you feel good about yourself. It is not up to anybody else to love you. It's really not. Period. It's not up to anyone else. You need to love you. You need to understand that no matter what happens in this world, that you got you. So yeah, you were an amazing person for helping your sister. And you may have gotten into fights with family and friends because you were her ride or die when they weren't. And now she's doing really well, but you still have a rift in the family. Use your words. Use your words. You need to be talking to people. You need to express how you feel. And you need to have a therapist or a counselor help you navigate that. These questions are all the same. Get yourself some fucking help, bruh. You know? Like, it just blows my mind. You guys pray and scream to the heavens that you want your family to get better, and they finally get better, and you still have shit to complain about. It's like, what? If you're isolated from your family, there's a reason. So use your words and talk to them. Why can't we have an open dialogue and open communication? If they've accepted her back into their life after everything she did, you don't think they'd do the same to you? If you feel isolated and she's not isolated, there's a reason for that. Use your motherfucking words and talk to the people you're feeling isolated from. Crazy concept. Damn. Okay. My daughter's trauma didn't come from us. We gave her everything. How do I stop blaming myself when addiction still found her? There's nothing you did, and you've already said that there's nothing you did that, propelled her into her addiction. So why would you for a second think that you're the one to blame? You gave her a good childhood. You gave her every opportunity to be a productive member of society, and she still ended up in an active addiction scenario. Why would you feel that that's your fault? Get therapy. It's going to be my answer. It's going to be my answer for everything. Get therapy. It's a horrific thing to go through. There is no step-by-step on how to figure out life when you have an addict for a child. You need to be joining self-help groups and support groups and read books and educate yourself and get therapy. Get therapy. There's nothing you did wrong. It's just a sickness. It's a disease. She's predisposed to it. She has a predisposition. There's some genetics in there that, so there's nothing nobody ever makes somebody an addict. Even if a person has a horrific childhood, that might be the cause. That is a trauma response. Using substances as a coping mechanism, that's a trauma response, but nobody is to blame for that. No. And if you think you are to blame for it, even though you're not, what should you do? Go get motherfucking therapy. Next question. Is it wrong that I don't want her around my kids even though she's in recovery? I'm scared of relapse and old behavior. Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't have to have nobody in your life that you don't want in your life. You don't have to allow her to build back trust if you don't want to. Just because you're family, it does not mean for a second that you have to have that person in your life. Sometimes there's too much damage done. And that's okay. Sometimes addicts come back from active addiction and there's just bridges that they burned that they're not going to be able to rebuild. We have to accept that and make the best of what we have left regardless. So, it is 110% valid that you feel that way. You are allowed to protect your peace. Everybody is allowed to protect their peace and to have boundaries and to say, no, there's too much damage done. I've been very fortunate that there's only maybe a handful of people that are just like, no, like done with me, would never be able to reconcile anything, and I'll never talk to them again. And that's fine. I make walking amends with the way I live my life every day. I may never be forgiven by these people. I may never be allowed back in their life, and I shouldn't be if that's how they feel. You're allowed to protect your peace and have boundaries. Everybody is, regardless of the situation. It doesn't even have to be an addict. Any kind of toxic shit in your life, you are 100%. Who the fuck says you're not? Get therapy though, Pookie. He got clean in jail. Now he's out and wants to make amends, but I don't want to go backwards. Am I awful for not being ready to hear him out? No, you're not awful. No. There's people that I know I will never be able to make amends with because I just refuse to disrupt their peace. You know, there's so many people that I just know that I will never reach out to, that I owe an amends to, that I owe an apology to, that I will never fuck with because I don't want to disrupt their peace. There's somebody that I have to see twice a week for an hour, and I don't even look in their direction because I don't want to disrupt their peace. I don't say boo, you know? Like, and that's my fault. Like, I can't hate somebody or be mad at somebody for not wanting me in their life when I destroyed part of their life, you know? So no, like, everything in due time. Like, there's a time and place, and if you're not ready, you're not ready. And who's to say you'll ever be ready? And there's nothing wrong with admitting you're not ready. But you should get therapy. Period. I prayed for her to get sober for years. Now that she is, I don't even recognize her. She's different, stronger, but colder. Did addiction change her forever? Yes. 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 You are not going to get back the person that you lost. Sometimes the person that comes back is a completely different human being. I am a completely different human being. If you saw what we saw, if you experienced what we experienced, you would be cold too. Because we see monsters that people, everyday people like normies, I call them normies, we see shit that y'all will never see in your lifetime. Okay? Just the people that we come across in active addiction, y'all don't ever have to deal with people like that. But that's what we had to deal with on a daily basis, violent monsters. Especially the men that are paying for services and stuff. Like, we see shit that you guys only see in true crime stuff. You know? So yeah, they're gonna be different, and you may never get that person back. You may never get that person back. You may get a cold, miserable person. And if that's how they want to live their life and they want to be in recovery in that regard, that's up to them. I would encourage them to get therapy if they're like that, you know, like if they're coming off like they've seen some shit, you should encourage them to get better, because a lot of that cold outer exterior is just pain and hurt, right? Because when you've seen what we've seen and you've been treated the way we were treated out there, you don't come back from it with like smiling like it's sunshine and roses. Not when you've seen people die and overdose and get hurt and get raped. And, you know, I've seen some fucked up shit. I've seen a baby die in a trap house. I watched a woman give birth and die. The baby died. Like, I've seen some fucked up shit. You know, I'm very fortunate that I took the opportunity to get the intense therapy that I did over the last 4 years, and I'm going back in therapy. I just signed back up there on Friday. So, yeah, it's obviously you're never gonna get that person back. Right? So, it's like how I see it when somebody goes to war, like the men who went to Vietnam are not the same men that came back. We went to war. Okay? So we're not going to be the same person we were when we went in. You'll never get that version of them back. Ever. So, and if you can't handle that, what should you do? Get therapy. Oh, God. Okay. My sister's back in our lives, but my parents act like nothing happened. Like we just skipped over it. How do I deal with this fake forgiveness? You let your parents do whatever the fuck you want to do. They want to do. You don't have to do what they're doing. You don't have to pretend it didn't happen. You can be mad. You can be fucking angry. You can be resentful. You can want answers that you're never going to get. You can be like, what the actual fuckity fuck? You can't change how anyone else is going to act. So if your parents want to pretend that it never happened, but you remember every minute of it, what should you do? Go get therapy. Because you can't change the behavior of others. You can't change the way people bury their head in the sand. My parents still do that shit. They just pretend shit never happened. We just got to pretend it never happened. There's some things that I bring up to my mom and she looks at me like I'm literally on glue. Like I'm Delulu. Like it never happened. And I'm like, oh no, it fucking did happen because I remember it. For you, it was a Wednesday. For me, it was my childhood. So it's the same thing. You're allowed to be mad at her. You're allowed to not want her around. You're allowed to not forgive her. You're allowed to be angry and hateful and resentful and continue your life that way if you want. You are allowed to do whatever the fuck you want to do with your life. And you can never prevent other people from doing other things in their life. And if you can't handle it, then you have to have boundaries and get therapy. Okay. They're clean now, but I still flinch when they raise their voice. How do I let my body know that it's safe again? Get therapy. Seriously, like all these questions are literally, that's the answer. Literally. You should be talking to a professional about this shit. Everybody that's helped someone navigate active addiction, or anybody who's watched a loved one descend into the darkness that is active addiction, should all be in fucking therapy. During and after. Like, you know what I mean? You'll live like that forever if you don't get the help you need. Like my body, 4 years in therapy, I've been offered exposure therapy because I have PTSD and it's supposed to really help with it. But I'm scared to do it because I am a mother and I have people that rely on me and I can't afford to crash the fuck out. Because like she says exposure therapy, the first thing I think is this bitch is bringing out a crack pipe in my fucking 3 baby dads. Like, what are you exposing me to? Right? So, yeah, I am not ready for that. And I'm allowed to say that I am not ready for that because even 4 years later, my body and mind and spirit doesn't know the difference between the phone ringing and the cops kicking my door in. I live in fight or flight. If I hear a man call my name, I will probably cry or scream back to shut the fuck up. Like there's things that I will never get over. You may always flinch when they raise their voice. The only thing you can do to remedy that is get fucking therapy. Things just don't go away. Like you have to help them go away. Like you have to work through it. And if anybody who wants change mentally in the way that they, live their life, you need to get therapy. Like, fuck, I should just make a fucking whole video going, get therapy. Oh, that's hot. Get therapy, Mel. Get therapy. I got therapy. I don't know why I said get therapy, Mel, because I've gotten therapy. Have you? I didn't think so. It's funny when my mom tells me I'm fucked. She's like, you're fucked. And I'm like, funny, because I'm the only one in this family that ever got the therapy that I needed. When's the last time you went to therapy, Mom? I'll wait. That's what I thought. But I'm fucked. Okay, boomer. Anyway. It's late. Okay. Everybody calls her a miracle, but I remember when she stole from my purse, lied to my face, and left me sobbing on the porch. What do I do with those memories? Get therapy. She doesn't owe you fuck all. She doesn't. You are the one that gets to make the choice if you want her in your life. And if you want her in your life and you want to watch her thrive and flourish in recovery, You don't have to forget these memories, but you need to be able to figure out a way, a mechanism to be able to navigate these emotions without taking it out on her. So if you're still holding resentments and anger and all that shit, even though it happened years ago, because you can't get over the betrayal, what do? Get therapy. It's not on her to heal your wounds. She's healing her own. So if you have this resentment because of a betrayal, you're the person that needs to figure that out, not her. She owes you an amends, and her amends is not picking up. So if you want to be in her life, and that's the thing, nobody is obligated to be in an addict in recovery's life. If there was too much damage done in active addiction, you don't have the obligation. Like, you don't, there's nothing in the world that says somebody who loves an addict has to be in their life after they get better. If it's too much, if too much was done, if there's too much history there, why would you put yourself in that situation? And why would you put them in that situation? Because they're trying to navigate a whole new world. And your baggage, they've got enough of their own fucking baggage. So your baggage from hurt feelings and sad memories, that's not up to them to fix. If you've accepted their apology and want them in your life, that is, you are the one that needs to navigate that, not them. You know? So as long as you've decided that you want them in your life, then you have to figure out how you're going to go through it. If not, then tell them that you don't want them in your life. Like, you can't, you know? Anyways, I'm trying to be a dad again, but I had to be the dad while He's trying to be a dad again, but I had to be the dad while he was gone. How do I step back now without falling apart? This is going to be very shocking to you, but I think you should get therapy. Holy fuck, get therapy. If you are allowing the person to be a dad, if they are safe and want to be a dad, they have every right to be a dad if they're safe, right? If you don't think that they're safe, then you have to do something about it. But other than that, you have to kind of do what my parents did. They waited until I proved to them that I was capable of parenting again. And once they've proved to you that they're capable of parenting again, you have to what? Let go. And if you can't let go, then you have to tell them that you're having a hard time letting go. We're going to use our words in 2025. We're going to communicate with the person we're having problems with. That's what adults do. So you're going to say, you know, for the last 5 years, I've been doing all this for the kids. I've been mom and dad. Now you're back. You want to be a dad. And I love that for you. But I'm having a hard time. I'm having a real hard time. There's things that you do that make me nervous still. I'm having issues with, you know, letting go. Is there any way we can talk about this? Because I really want you to succeed at being their father. But I'm having a hard time stepping back because I've been doing it by myself for all these years. And now you're back and I'm just supposed to let you do it? Okay. You're allowed to have those conversations. You're allowed to talk and use their big words in 2025. Like, anyways, now I'm just being bitchy. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Miigwech.